Well, it is an important story we've been talking about. The LAUSD strike is underway. Workers are off the job and families are left with new challenges.
Joining us to discuss how this is affecting students and their families is Elmer Roldan, Executive Director of Communities and Schools of Los Angeles. Mr. Roldan, thank you so much for joining us. We appreciate it. So tell us about your organization. What does it do?
Yeah, thank you for having me. Communities and Schools of Los Angeles is an organization that presently provides case management to 1,500 students across 5 communities in LA Unified. We serve a total of 15 schools, and what we provide is social emotional learning, academic support, and providing families with resources and students with the tools to stay connected to schools, graduate on time, and make it on to college.
Well, we do understand that, a lot of folks say, well, this is only a 3-day strike. It's not that big of a deal. But we know that it's a lot more complex than that. So how could this impact our students?
Well, this is one of several interruptions that we've seen thus far. It's been 3 years of challenging academic conditions for students, and that's not including the challenges that students were facing before the pandemic shut down schools. So it's not just the 3 days. This is, another interruption that students are facing. And for families with, very little means or no means at all, 3 days is a long way to go. A long time to go without the academic support and other essential benefits that students receive from schools.
Will you talk about the disproportionate impact this learning loss may have on underserved communities?
Yeah, well, as I mentioned, education is not equal across the board. So in the communities that we serve, we see that there is an additional need for academic supports. The students need help with tutoring, reading, mathematics, and social emotional needs that come with the stressors of students growing up in the types of communities that don't always get the resources that they need. And so, we are talking about students who have lost at least 2 years of learning, if not more. And as you compound all of those challenges that students are facing, the ramifications can be endless. And so for us, we are very concerned about the way that these interruptions in learning ultimately will impact our students' future.
Right. It's super difficult, not just for the students, but for the parents as well. So what are you saying to families during the strike? Are there resources or tips that you can offer them?
Yeah, so our staff has been providing virtual case management to students, calling families, directing them to the centers where food and other academic resources are being provided. There have been packets being sent home, homework being provided. Students are giving the opportunity to catch up on work where they may be behind. But ultimately for families, this came as a surprise to a lot of families. We heard from some that were showing up yesterday to pick up their kids, and it was the first time that they heard that a strike was happening. And so you can imagine that this is a tremendous interruption for some, and families are resourceful, but of course, some families may be able to take time off of work. Other families don't have the privilege. And so 3 days of going without work may mean that they may ultimately lose their job, or it may affect the relationship with the employer. And so, rightfully so, there is a lot of concern. We've heard from parents who say that they support the workers and understand why the strike is happening, while simultaneously communicating how concerned they are about their own children and the way that this is impacting their learning in the long run.
Yeah, sounds like you're doing some very important and beneficial work for the children of Los Angeles. We thank you so much for your time. Elmer Roldan, Executive Director of Communities and Schools of Los Angeles, thanks again for joining us.
Thank you.